Hello and welcome to the Gloves Are Off Overtime Edition. I'm Moses Wolder and I'm pleased to be joined by Greg Buchanan.
Hey, Moses.
And Andrew Brethauer of the Lloydminster Source. How are you?
Good, yourself?
Excellent. Happy New Year to both of you, by the way.
Happy New Year.
First show of 2015, first OT edition of 2015. And we'll kick it off with the Hall of Fame ballot. Just opened up today. We officially know some of the names that come in, John Smoltz being one of them, Pedro Martinez being another. You're starting to see a lot of these players, but yet the bigger names like a Clemens, McGuire, Barry Bonds are absent from the Hall of Fame and could be for the foreseeable future. Where do they lie in baseball's history, and will they eventually get to the Hall of Fame? All of them, one of them, take your pick.
Jeez, that's a tough.
That's a coin toss.
Yeah.
It really is. It depends on who you talk to.
Do you see any of those three, not just say all three, but even just one of those three making it, or even Sammy Sosa, one of those four?
It's like when we talk about hockey, it's like you need this guy will get in if we have a weak draft class. Well, maybe it's the same with this, but there's so much. It's going to take, once one gets in, everyone's in, put it that way. I think once one person gets voted in, then it's just going to open the floodgates and we'll be like, okay, we're fine with a Barry Bonds getting in. Okay, well, we have to let McGuire in. We have to let Sosa in. You have to start opening that logic to we got to let these guys in. Do they earn it? Depends on how far back you want to say they've been using drugs. That's the reality of it.
And that's the thing. If you look at their record, their numbers, pitching, hitting, for all three of those players, they should be in. But if you look at the behind the numbers and how they got those numbers, and if you investigate it deeper, then they probably shouldn't. But there's a lot of guys in that Hall of Fame that have done a lot worse than doing steroids.
And with all due respect, Major League Baseball knew of this. It wasn't really illegal in the sense of what they were using, but in the court of public opinion, that's a little bit different.
For example, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, when they had their little home run battle back and forth that season, baseball was at an all-time low before that season. That season brought it back up. So baseball can say whatever they want to say, that they were bad boys doing what they did. At the same time, they saved the game that season. So for that alone, they should almost get into the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, it bugs me that he's not in the Hall of Fame. I understand the gambling and everything, but like Ty Cobb is one that, if you read his book, Ty was a horrible person, hell of a ball player, horrible person. And the things that he did away from the ballpark, there's no way he should be in the Hall of Fame. But he is, because of his numbers and because of what he was as a ball player. That should be the same case with these guys.
All right, guys, so how about we move on to this? The NCAA finally moved into a playoff format for college football. I love this to death, and I watched the games on January 1st, and I was impressed with both of them. Even the two bad teams that lost, we're talking about Florida State and, of course, Alabama, two teams that guys really don't like in the nation. Now you have Ohio State. They're not the greatest, but also Oregon. Guys, what do you think of this format of having four teams in a semifinal for the BCS championship or for a championship? Or do you think that they should expand it maybe into 8 teams and then make it a legit quarterfinals, bring the top 8, and let them face off until the championship game?
Well, there's a lot of parity between first and 8. If you go down that low, I think you're going to have, it's a wasted week. What we saw was the two best teams getting upset, and now instead of having a Alabama Oregon or Alabama Ohio final or Oregon final, now we have Florida State and Alabama final. We're getting an Oregon Ohio final. It worked perfectly for what they want it to do. And
so 4 teams is good enough?
I'm fine with 4 teams because I think you start going down those 8 teams. They're the 10-2s. There's a 9-3 team at 11. They're so close when you get down to that lower part. I think for now, leave it at 4, try it out at 4, and see what happens. Because with everyone building the schedules and teams not playing fair and even, it still comes down to people selecting who should go into those 4 spots. Like I said, one's the 5th place. The 4th place team didn't even get in it. So leave it at 4. Fix that first, make sure that's perfect. Then if you want to open it up, go to more.
Yeah, I say they're going to go to more. Probably sooner than later. And they're talking possibly 6, possibly 8. March Madness, and not a big basketball guy, but March Madness is so much fun right from the start to the end that if they can grab just a spoonful of that in football, that's going to go a long way in college football in the U.S. So I think that magic they have in March Madness, if they can relate it to the football field, and trust me, they will, because it's going to come down to dollars and cents.
Imagine in the U.S. if we had a college football final and then the next week after at the Super Bowl. And I think eventually if they can get to there, you have football
that's gonna be tough because, of course, right now games are usually on January 1st. That won't be the case for the semifinal matchups. They will be bumped up to December 31st for the next 3 years, which.
And
to
how
me
many
is
bowl
still
games
odd.
are there? Like
There's like 20.
There's the Taco
24,
Bell Bowl.
We
there's
all
this,
like
you
the
know.
Belk Bowl. Let's be honest. The Belk Bowl's what we live for.
The Wheat Thins Bowl, whatever bowl that they want to come up
Where's
with.
the New Cap Bowl?
Very quickly, guys, I want to get to this before we finish up. LA Rams, that could be a possibility in the next, say, 2-3 years down the road. I don't know if there's any reasons why they want to get out of St. Louis if it comes down to stadium, but it looks like the owner for the LA Rams, Stan Kroenke, has bought a 60-acre part of land in Hollywood. Do you guys see the Los Angeles Rams coming to fruition, moving from St. Louis in, say, 2-3 years' time?
If not, it's going to be a beautiful house, I will say. 60 acres house. Like, we've done this already. Let's not do this again. And I don't want to panic them and move them. Like, St. Louis is like good city. They like the Rams. They love the Rams. It's a history now of that team being there, and I don't want to lose it because of, this guy wants to build a bigger
LA
stadium.
is one of those places that is
Has
the
never
largest
worked.
market.
Yeah,
They've had two teams.
and they've tried it so
three
many
teams.
times. They've tried it so many, and that's what puzzles me why this doesn't work in LA. And they've had the Raiders and they've had the Rams there, and it just does not work.
Well, the Raiders was because of their owner Al Davis wanting a new
he's
stadium.
nuts.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
He says we're shipping back to Oakland.
Yeah,
That was the reason.
But
Chargers,
how,
you can make a
But
case
how
for.
in the National Football League and here in Canada we talk about, what happens if we lose a team in Toronto? Will the CFL fall apart? Well, in the NFL, they don't have a team in LA. They're doing pretty good, So you wonder if this experiment is going to fail again, and what's going to happen in St. Louis if they pull out. Is St. Louis going to try to get another team in there? Probably.
But I will say this: the NFL is trying to expand to London. I think it's best to expand into Los Angeles before you do so. And like with the CFL with Toronto, you got to keep a team in Toronto because I know you say larger markets, but it's apples and oranges there. Last word. What do you say?
I really hope they move it to LA. Just be fun. Let's do it again. Pick up the red flag again. That's what it is. I hope I'm the realtor for that house. That'd be a great house. 60-acre house. Could you just imagine? No.
His realtor head is coming into play.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thinking
All right,
of
well,
possibilities.
we're gonna end it there. Thanks a lot, Andrew, once again.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bucky, for
Thanks,
coming on
Moses.
the show. And we want to thank you for coming on, at least hanging out with us on the overtime edition of Gloves. You can tune in to our show every Tuesday night, 7:30 on CITL, and then back on our Facebook page for more of the same. In the meantime, we will see you in 7 days.